Hi folks, this is Double Crown, and I've been looking on the internet, and there seems to be an awful lot of conspiracy theories, etc. And I thought I'd investigate one of those. And one of these kind of conspiracy theories is that society is kind of based on this pyramid structure here. And what we've got is we've got an elite level here at the top. And then we have the rest of us all, and we'd all fit in here somewhere. Um, so this is the kind of pyramid structure. And if you do your research, do your homework, and actually investigate these matters, look at some of the most powerful people in the world, the most powerful people in the country, etc., you will find that this pyramid structure seems to be pretty much kind of sort of accurate to an extent. So what we've got, I mean, you've got these different layers here. You've got the bottom layer here, the poor class, the homeless, the unemployed, etc. These people just suffer. Then you've got, you go into the lower middle class and the working class here, who have a little bit of money, a little bit of pocket money. Then you've got the middle class here, and the upper class, and then you've got the elite class. And this structure seems to be such that it's the elite class here that's holding most of the money, or almost all of the money, in fact, and the rest of it just kind of trickles down. So the rest of us all here are kind of fighting over the crumbs, as it were. And of course, some people will do better than others in a structure like this, where we're all kind of fighting over the crumbs. Some people are going to be good at fighting, and other people are not going to be so good at fighting. So it depends exactly, where you are in this structure as to how well you're going to do. But of course, even if you do reach the upper echelons here or into the middle classes, you've actually got, well, it says here level 3 here, no power, and we give all our power, every election, etc., to the upper classes. So even at the middle class level and the lower class level and the poor, there's no real power there at all. You don't really have any influence. Now, to climb up this kind of pyramid structure, typically you think, well, you need to have a job, and you climb up the career ladder, and this whole structure seems to be based. I mean, it can only be based on intimidation, fear, and bullying. That's the only way this pyramid structure can actually work. So what we've got is fear, intimidation, and bullying. If you want to climb up this ladder, you have to fight. And if you want to fight, you have to be good at things like intimidation, because you don't want to be in a fight all the time. And if you're good at intimidation, and if you're good at bullying, and if you're good at fear, you can climb up this ladder. But even then, you will not get particularly high. You'll go as high as you can get, but of course there'll be other. Once you reach a certain level, of course, it's going to be, if this system works as it does, based on fear and intimidation, once you reach a certain level, basically everybody there will be aware of fear, intimidation, and bullying tactics, and it will just be a kind of hell, as it were, and you'll be dealing with psychopaths, and I think that's kind of who they pretty much employ. So at these upper levels, it's basically full of psychopaths and sociopaths, people who have little empathy for anybody else, and that is the only way that this structure can be maintained. It has to be based on intimidation, fear, and bullying. And we can kind of see that through things like the media. The media creates the fear. Now, if you're working, let's say you are the middle class somewhere and you're working, you might be working in a nice open plan office. Now, the open plan office is a great environment where the whole principle of intimidation, of fear, can work very, very effectively. Because in an open plan office, what you've got is an environment where everything you say is going to be overheard. Everything you do is going to be overseen. And all you'd have to do in an open plan office, just imagine there's an open plan office with 100 people, maybe 200 people in it. All you'd have to do is dot a few key people scattered throughout that open plan office, and you can control vast amounts of people using this structure. And that's why we've seen the proliferation of open plan offices in the middle class and the lower middle class areas. Now, let's say you're working class. Let's say you work in the labouring industry. Let's say you pick up boxes and move boxes around for a living. And again, they use different kind of intimidation tactics and fear tactics in that. For example, well, if your job is lifting boxes, what can happen is you can be overworked. Instead of working 8 hours a day, you might be working 9 hours a day, which means you come home extremely tired and not really able to do much else. So that is a kind of an intimidation tactic where you can be forced to work ridiculously long hours, and of course, the body can only take so much. And if you worked in any kind of environment where you have to pick up boxes, you could find yourself, working and being extremely stiff the next day from having to lift lots and lots of boxes. And of course, the next day you're so stiff that you can hardly do any work at all, and you might end up missing a day. So this is one of the tactics that they use in the kind of industrial and manual labour kind of industries. So again, they're using intimidation, fear, and bullying to control people. And these are the kind of mind control techniques they use. So again, if we go back to the open plan office, the open plan office is great for humiliating staff, because everything you say and everything you do is going to be overheard. And of course, the managers can quickly turn you into a laughing stock. So that's what happens in the open plan offices. Again, if you were to, for example, leave an open plan office and leave your job to move to another kind of job, you might find that they'll have a leaving do for you. And again, they can kind of take the mickey. That whole process is designed to kind of control, create fear, and this is what is going on at the middle and lower middle class level. So this is entirely based on intimidation, fear, and bullying. So now I've got some other diagrams here. Shall we take a look at those? Now this shows it quite graphically what's going on here. So you've got the lower level, and at the lower level you've just got people suffering, people dying literally. You might be talking about the third world here. Absolutely ridiculous levels of debt, and they're being absolutely crushed. That is one level of suffering there that is going on. Now, if you're lucky enough to be at this level, you might feel lucky. There might be drinks parties. You might be going out for dinner with your bosses as a special treat for working hard and doing the right thing. So this level here is a complete illusion. You might get the odd treat here and there, and things look rosy, But even at this level, of course, people are kind of fighting to reach this level, this office environment or whatever, where you feel like you're in the in crowd, as it were. People are fighting to reach this level. So even this level here is an extremely hostile, cutthroat environment. And you get the odd treat, you might get the odd dinner party, you might get the odd drinks, after works drinks, etc. And everything looks rosy, but it's a complete illusion. A complete illusion. And then you move up to the next level, and here it becomes clear that the whole agenda here is one of intimidation, fear, and bullying. And as you can see here, this is how you are controlled. This is how you are kept in line. If you step out of line, you will be quickly forced back into line using tactics such as mind control, mobbing, where you feel like you're in control, and maybe you're arguing with one person, but before you know it, you're arguing with two people, maybe three people, maybe four people, and you then end up on your own, isolated, and you quickly fall back into line. And this is how the control structure works. And then you start going on to the upper echelons of society, and at the very top we've got all the money, all the wealth, and they control the whole of society. And here they really just serve the upper echelons of society, and they are allowed to keep a certain level of wealth and a certain level of privilege, simply for having been good servants to the upper echelons of society. And that is pretty much how this structure seems to be working. So let's have a quick look at some of the other diagrams here that I've got. This one goes into more detail. So what we've got is, we've got the religious sector down here, world population control levels here, the population of the workers. So here you've got a mass of workers here, hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands, millions and millions of workers here. This is the lowest rungs of the ladder. And these people, these workers, are controlled by things like religion. They're controlled by the governments, intelligence agencies. They will also be controlled by the courts, prisons, police, and the military. So these people always have to stay in line, because you certainly don't want to get the military, you don't want to get the police or the courts involved, and certainly not the prisons. And then you've got the schools as well, which again keep the children in line. So if you have kids, they will be kept in line by the schools. And then you've got the media outlets, Disney, news corporations, etc. And they will engender fear into this population here. Further up, we've got the big corporations, ExxonMobil, BP, Total, etc. DuPont. You've got Monsanto. You've got the big corporations here, who are allowed to trickle bits of money down to the working population there, provided you do a good job. Then you've got the banks, tax revenue, interest revenue, etc. You've got international settlements, the World Bank, etc. So this is the banking layer, and this controls all the world's finances, and that is how you're very, very heavily controlled in terms of money. Higher up, we've got the think tanks, we've got the Trilateral Commission, the United Nations, the Council of Foreign Relations, the Bilderberg Group, the Club of Rome, and what have you. Then you've got some of the richest and most powerful sub-families and the most powerful families in the world at the top, and the ruling elite. So this layer here is pretty much the ruling elite. And what else have we got here? So yeah, I mean, society does seem to be structured using this kind of pyramid structure here. And you kind of think, well, if you do a good job, if you do your job well, you can kind of rise up this structure here, and that just doesn't seem to happen, because if you do a good job, you're not actually helping to maintain this pyramid structure. Doing a good job is actually kind of worthless in effect, because this whole pyramid structure is based on intimidation, fear, and bullying, and doing a good job doesn't feature in that. So if you're not actually intimidating people, if you're not creating fear, then it's very hard to climb up this ladder. So I mean, people talk about, well, you shouldn't create you shouldn't create a system of fear. You should have a system of love, and that's all very nice and all very well. But this entire pyramid structure that we are all living is based on intimidation, fear, and bullying. And it's all very well saying, you should go around loving people and what have you, but if you do that, you're kind of not going to climb up this ladder, and you're just going to be one of the controlled people. But obviously, the solution here is of course one of love, one of harmony, one of a peace, and that can only be achieved if those principles of love and harmony and not trying to create fear, if those policies are adopted by some of the people higher up in society. If they don't adopt some of those policies and some of those viewpoints, then we are all living in a state of fear and intimidation. And that seems to be pretty much what is going on in society at the minute. I'd be quite interested in what your views on all this are. So please leave any comments if you agree, if you disagree with what I'm saying. I'd be very interested to know. And these theories that I'm talking about here, it's kind of all over the internet now. And some of the key people who talk about this pyramid structure, well, David Icke was certainly one of them, but it's quite familiar now in America. It's quite familiar now in the UK, and this is pretty much what is going on. So yeah, so please leave any comments, any thoughts, any opinions you have about what I've said. If you agree, if you disagree, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. That will help me out a lot. I really need your feedback. I really need, the subscribers. I really need the comments. So please have your say down below in the comments section. And thank you for watching. Bye for now.